All right, welcome back. Today we're going to do something pretty cool. We're going inside a tree to figure out its incredible, gravity-defying plumbing system. You know, the one that keeps basically every plant on Earth alive.
So let's start with a question that seems simple, but the answer is anything but. Have you ever looked at a really tall tree and wondered, how does it drink? I mean, how does water get from way down in the roots all the way up to the highest leaves, fighting gravity every single step of the way?
Well, the answer lies in this amazing and ancient tissue called the xylem. And you can think of it as the plant's internal plumbing system, its very own water highway.
The name xylem actually comes from the Greek word for wood, xylon, and that's pretty much what it is. It's the stuff that makes up the wood in trees, and it acts like this incredible superhighway, moving water and all those dissolved minerals in just one direction, straight up.
But here's the thing, it's not just a simple pipe. The xylem is doing two crucial jobs at once. First, it's conducting water. But second, its cells are reinforced with a super tough substance called lignin, and that gives the plant the strength and support to stand tall and reach for the sunlight. So it's both the plumbing and the skeleton. Pretty amazing, right?
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper here. To really get how the xylem works its magic, we need to zoom way in, kind of like putting it under a microscope, and see what this tissue is actually made of. It turns out the xylem is built by a team of 4 different kinds of specialized cells. You've got xylem fibers for extra strength and xylem parenchyma for storage. But the real stars of the show, the ones doing all the heavy lifting when it comes to water transport, are the other 2. And that's who we're going to focus on.
Yep, these two right here, the tracheids and the vessel elements. They are the absolute heroes of our story today. These are the actual conduits, the pipes, that make that whole incredible journey upwards possible.
So let's put these 2 cellular engineers head to head. How do they stack up? Because really, they represent 2 different but related solutions to the exact same problem. How do you move water both efficiently and safely? Just by looking at them, you can see a huge difference in their design, can't you? On the left, the tracheids are long and thin, kind of spindle-shaped. But the vessel elements on the right? They're much shorter and wider, almost like little barrels that are just perfectly designed to be stacked one on top of the other. Okay, so tracheids are kind of the old-school original model. They're more primitive, and you find them in pretty much all vascular plants. We're talking everything from ferns to pine trees. Vessels are the newer upgrade. You see them mostly in flowering plants. But the most critical difference, the real game changer between them, is all about their end walls.
See, tracheids have these sealed, tapered ends. Water can't just flow straight through from one cell to the next. Nope, it has to move sideways, taking a little detour through these small openings called pits. Now, it's a pretty safe system, but it's also like taking a winding country road instead of a highway. It's not super fast.
Vessels, though, they are a massive upgrade in efficiency. The individual cells, the vessel elements, they stack up, and their end walls either have big holes in them or have dissolved away completely. And what does that create? A continuous, wide-open pipe, a true water superhighway.
So, just how big of an upgrade are we talking about here? Well, this innovation means that for the same amount of space, vessels can move about 100 times more water than tracheids. 100 times? That is a mind-blowing leap in plumbing efficiency. Okay, so we've got these incredible, intricate pipelines. But how do they actually function? Well, the secret is kind of weird. It's completely counterintuitive.
So what is the most fascinating and, frankly, a little bit creepy secret behind what makes both tracheids and vessel elements so good at their jobs?
It's this. They're dead. Yep. When they're mature and actually doing their job, the cells that make up these pipelines are completely and totally dead. On purpose.
So what you're seeing here are the results of that process. They are perfectly hollow tubes. What happens is, during their development, these cells build up their strong, reinforced walls, and then their final act is a kind of programmed cell death. All their insides, the cytoplasm, all the organelles, it all just disappears, leaving nothing but an empty shell behind.
And being dead is actually a brilliant design feature. Think about it. It creates a perfect hollow pipe with absolutely nothing in the way, so you get maximum water flow. Plus, that tough, lignified cell wall that's left behind, it's waterproof, and it's strong enough to handle the insane pressures that are involved in pulling water up a giant tree without collapsing in on itself.
The whole system runs on something called the cohesion tension theory, and it's basically passive.
The best way to think about it is like drinking through a really, really long straw. As water evaporates from the leaves up top, that's called transpiration. It creates a tension, a kind of pull. And because water molecules love to stick together, that's cohesion. That pull gets transmitted all the way down the water column, yanking more water up from the roots like a continuous chain.
But this whole system has one massive weakness. It's an Achilles heel, really. And that's air bubbles. Botanists call them embolisms. If even one tiny air bubble gets in, it's like getting an air bubble in your straw. It breaks that chain of water molecules. That pipe is now permanently out of commission. This is called cavitation, and it's a huge, huge risk for the plant.
And that brings us to our final big question. If vessels are 100 times more efficient, why on earth do tracheids still exist? Why would even the most advanced plants hang on to this older, slower design? Well, the answer is a classic evolutionary trade-off: efficiency versus safety. It's a high-stakes engineering problem that plants have been solving for millions and millions of years. And it's a fantastic reminder that in nature, the newest, shiniest technology isn't always the best tool for every single job.